And boom, I'm live. I'm sorry I'm 2 minutes late. I got distracted. I was actually playing around making music, thinking I might compose something live on the air with iMachine 2. And while I was playing with that, I looked down and then I looked up and then I thought it's like 2 minutes to start. So I'm sorry, I'm late, but it's good to see you guys. And thank you for joining. I've got a bit of a cold. In fact, my ears are a bit blocked, I realise now that I talk. I've been watching... I saw the first half of Hidden Fortress, the Kurosawa movie. I'm on a homework assignment from Michelle Kopp to watch some Kurosawa movies tonight, or this week. Before I meet her at the end of this week, we're going to record a new series of Japan Business Time, or whatever we're going to call the new series this week. So if you want topics to be in the new series, make sure you get in and get those recording. It's quite a lag tonight. I'm seeing 50 seconds and it's not started yet, but I'm definitely recording. So you should be able to see, oh, here we go, and that's now, wow, that's like more than a minute lag. Well, so long as that keeps a stable quality. I am, you know what, I think I'm in better focus when I don't wear the glasses. So I'm going to dump those, I don't need them. And yeah, so I'm just going to rock it like this. A lot of topics tonight, actually. Although I do want to leave some time at the end so I can actually make some music and show you some stuff. It's been a busy week. It's been a lot of stuff going on. Jumaro, there's a name I don't recognize, so very welcome and good to see you. Good to see Mikey, Chen, Barrage, all you beautiful people. Let's start out doing that. I'll tell you what, this week, a real highlight this week. I think I mentioned this in my Facebook if you're following. I actually... there was a commenter on one of my videos. I think it's Yugen is the YouTuber name. His artist name is Jace Mace, and he's a basically a rapper, hip hop artist. And he kind of mentioned, I think I talked about in my videos how I want to do like a collab involving some vocals. And he said, "Hey, I've got some acapellas if you're interested." And he gave me a verse of a track that he'd been working on. And it's really, really awesome. I've been playing with it. I released a track this week based on that verse. I cut it up and I made two versions. One on a drum and bass version, which is 165 BPM, but the vocal was for 89, so it didn't really match. But he's actually now back with the drum and bass track that I made, and he's going to redo it on the right BPM. But I made a hip-hop track, which I just made for that beat. And it came out really, really awesome. So I guess that's what I'm going to play as the BGM to start out. It's this track I made on SoundCloud. It's called, in fact I think it's in here somewhere. This is the one, Reality is Subjective, which is just a line. I really liked a lot of the lines. It's just a really simple verse. But the guy's called Jace Mace. He has put out some CDs. He's recorded, I think under the name 49ers. He's actually recorded like an anime title. In fact, I can look down on this and I can tell you exactly what his anime was. It turns out he's actually like pro. He's released a lot of stuff, which makes sense because his track is awesome. Let me quickly go through actually. So where is he? Here, boom. So, yeah. We were kind of swapping a lot of background stuff. So he's not signed, but he's under the... So he releases a few albums in Japan under the name 49ers. He specializes in jazzy hip-hop, which is right up my alley. So I like sort of jazzy beats for drum and bass, but also quite like hip-hop. And, yeah, he's able to get his stuff sold in Steyr, Tower, and so on. He's done an opening theme for the anime Danganronpa, and a Sonos commercial with Q-Tip. And Banvox, and Banvox is really, really good, and some songs with Banvox. So he's actually done some really big stuff, although he says it's been a bit quieter since he's been in Kyushu. But anyway, I'm going to play you the track on here. I should have had it already queued up, shouldn't I? But I didn't, so meh. Let me just see if I can get it onto this. And okay, SoundCloud. But anyway, that came out really, really well, so I'm going to play that in the background while I go through the greetings and hellos. And by the way, tell me about... so it was really, really awesome to connect with someone through that anyway. Again, through videos, just hooking up with this guy. I quite like my drum and bass thing, but yes, the rhythm of the rap is a little bit off. This one is on. If this is too loud, let me know, or if the sound is off, if it's too quiet, let me know. But I'll play some background tracks while this is going. and that seems to be playing. Hopefully it's coming through, and I think I can see the level. I'm going to put it there. So anyway, let me know if that comes out a little bit too loud, although it looks like it's like a 1 minute lag at the moment, so I guess it's going to be too late by the time it comes through. But yes, and that's right, Phil, all in your comments are recorded in the video. That is correct, although I don't know anyone watches them other than me. But anyway, coming back, it looks like, wow, we've already gone through, we've done a lap on the comments. So, okay, Mr. Cordy Chep, Herb Toker, good to see you. Discussion about communism there I seem to have missed. Naragi, another person I met when he visited Japan, good to see you. Phil Nolan, great to see you. Brad Ford, who else have we got? Planning another trip in August, by the way. I see Naragi. Oh, where's my mouse gone? There it is. Boom, let's go over here. Mr. Cordy Chap, Phil Nolan, good to see you. Bradley Ford, thank you for joining. Jonas BE, Robert 1967 Canada, Razel Gul, great to see you. Phil Nolan, there we go. Alan Deck, good to see you. I just subscribed to you tonight, that's right. I just subscribed to you tonight when you said to Phoenix that you're a YouTuber. By the way, big shout out to Phoenix. He made a Phoenix 5, which is a ranking of 5 interesting videos from this week, and put one of my Japan Business Time videos on it. But there were like 4 other videos on there I didn't know anything about, which are actually pretty good. It's a good list to be included on, and that's a good sort of video actually. I appreciate that because I can't keep up with my subscriptions, so it's nice to have someone like you to sort of boil them down and recommend some genuinely good videos, which it looks like your list is. So yeah, go and check out Phoenix 787's video from tonight. He just uploaded it, the Phoenix 5 thing. That looks pretty cool. Who else we got in here? Sean Bro. By the way, I'll just check how are my levels. A bit louder. It's a bit late now, it's already 2 minutes in, but there we go. It's too soft, you can still hear me talking. Well, that would be a problem, wouldn't it? I don't know, I'll leave that there. But let's go back up the top and see who else is in here tonight. We've got, so indeed, Felix 787, good to see Renee Halpton, great to see you. And that's right, I'm going to mention Love Hotels, there's an article there. Mata Gaijinka, good to see you. Kang and Kodos, always good to see you. KNS TV, thank you for using my video, by the way, the other day on the snow in Kagoshima video. That was really awesome, and I tweeted that out. Who else we got here? Oh, that is maxing out, so I'll put that back on there. Sean Bro, great to see you. Ben Duncan, good to see you as well. Here we go. I was running a little bit late at the beginning, I'm sorry about that. We got Thunderbirds Ago Barringer, good to see you. Koine, good to see you. There's there's always scandals, but I'm going to talk about the Amari scandal tonight. So Sunai, good to see you, thank you for joining. Hemming for Grey 62, Mikey Chen, great to see you, good evening, buenas noches. And I think I saw Shubus up there somewhere from Panama, great to see you. Shubus Globby, excellent to see you. Who else we got here? Sumi-chan, indeed Sumi-chan, good to see you. There's Shubus, who I think I saw earlier. Jumaro, a name I don't recognize, always good to see new names joining. Someone asked about RedTube there. Jason's All Sumo channel, great to see you. Lara, always good to see you. Nice to see you being a regular as well. Thank you for joining. And here we go. There's Punky Nugraha, good to see you, and thank you for joining. It's another name I think I might have seen before actually, but not that often. So Xcodia1, hi there, good to see you. And the Black Rabbit. Is that it? Is that everybody? Have I got everybody? Some people talking about some adult sites there. It's all good because I'm going to be talking about Love Hotels and stuff. Chris Rodham, great to see you. I'm very glad that you could catch it live. I'm very glad that you can be able to join. What track is this playing? This is playing, oh, this would be playing Kakushin, except it's not playing. So, I can play that. In fact, what I'll do instead is I'm going to go up and cross that out. I'll show the drum and bass track that I made. Which is up here. And is that going to play? Let me just check that. There we go. That's loading. So that right now is this one, Genjutsu, which is the same verse, except I just cut it up and matched it up to a different beat, so that is pretty good. So anyway, yes, let's get into the subjects, and if there's enough time, I'll show you how I make one of these tracks at the end. I'm just playing around with this a little bit more with another hip-hop version. So let's get into it. Let's start at the top, shall we? Let's start. Peek inside a Japanese sex hotel. Alan Dick, glad you like their music. This is the sort of thing I like. And like I said, the vocals don't match up perfectly, which is why Jace is actually going to have a look at recording some vocals over the top of the instrumental version of this, which will be really, really cool. So anyway, this was interesting. This is from Dazed. I think I saw someone else forwarding it. A-Dog, BJNI. I don't know how to pronounce that, but good to see him. Frederick Koenig, good to see you as well. Good evening. Yes, this is talking about love hotels, part of a growing global phenomenon where apparently people can go in and this article seems to be looking at somebody who is focusing on S&M and kind of real kind of a bit out of it sort of ones, but made a documentary basically for the Reykjavik International Film Festival called Love Hotel. I'd quite like to see the documentary actually. The ironically named Phil Cox has talked about, and the thing is, I must admit, when I first came to Japan, I've heard about a place which has like a boxing ring and a train room and all these sort of really crazy theme rooms, and I'd always wanted to go to one of those, although I can't say I found some really nice ones, but I never actually found one of these sort of places, although I guess this person's probably in central Tokyo. But there's a video there, so if you've ever wanted to see what the inside of love hotels look like, there's a whole documentary on it here. Generally speaking, and what's kind of interesting about love hotels, especially the quality of traveling hotels has improved a lot in Japan in the last 10 or 15 years, but it really used to be, even just for a really crappy, small, cramped business hotel, you'd have to pay over $100 a night, the cheapest you can get, like the equivalent of backpacking. When I was backpacking in Japan, paying less than like 8,000 yen a night was almost impossible. And the funny thing is that you go to a love hotel, which you could pay the same amount for. I never had the guts to do it at that time. But because they rent the room out through the day and you'll have multiple people use it, it means that you can get more money off a hotel room than you could just, having it as one person per day. Which means that those people subsidize a room having cooler stuff. And so the room is like, we'll have a huge TV, satellite TV, internet, room service. Some of the really, kind of flash ones would have things like, sauna rooms, pool, all this sort of stuff. And you can get it for the same price as a business hotel. The only thing is that you're not allowed to stay in a lot of the time by yourself. And some have funny rules about taking in, for example, I know cases where guys have tried to go and just because it was cheaper, tried to use a love hotel where they went in as two guys, but they were stopped. I think that sort of thing used to happen more than it happens now. They go from all scales, of course, from kind of cheap and frankly kind of nasty, especially when you can see like sheets haven't been washed and stuff like that. I generally, when I was using them, would try to avoid the cheaper ones, but the new ones and the flash ones, it's always kind of fun, and it makes complete sense, and you kind of use it and you kind of think, well, why doesn't every society have these more? They're probably more of a necessity in Japan because it's not really a car culture so much, or at least not inside Tokyo. And people, if you're living at home with parents or whatever, you're living in very cramped, it's hard to have private space, and so it makes a lot of logical sense. Don't try it in karaoke. I have been there and I found out after the fact that yes, all those karaoke places have cameras in the rooms specifically to avoid people using them as makeshift love hotels, so don't do that. And that's another thing though, the love hotels have karaoke machines in them, so it's an interesting, it's actually provided you with someone who's up for it for a date. It's kind of cool. It actually makes a lot of sense, especially if you stuck after last train. So it's kind of interesting to see a documentary. I would like to go and check this one out myself, but this looks very, very interesting. So I've got the first article that I've got for today for covering is look inside Japanese sex hotels, as they call them, love hotels. Although I guess that is what they are for. I've heard cases actually where people would actually go and stay in them, and they get so into the karaoke and video games and big TV that they actually dare even get around to it. But one thing for Tokyo, I don't know about anywhere else, but if you want to know where to go and find them, typically in most places in Japan they're located close to big junctions, big highway intersections. So the idea is people with cars would go and drive like a town across, so that they don't want to run into anyone from their town, so they might drive 1 or 2 towns away, and they'll be beside the off ramp of the, and you can actually see they always put the signs so that you can see them from the highways, and they put them near the highway intersections. But within Tokyo, there's a couple of stations I think are famous for like having big love hotel areas. The most famous is of course Shibuya, Dogenzaka, which has probably, I think it's Japan's biggest love hotel district, and it's right around the nightclub district. The reason for that is that it's really hard to set up nightclubs in Japan because of the noise complaints if you put it in a residential area. But of course, having nightclubs in the middle of the love hotel district, the last thing they're going to complain about is the noise of the nightclubs. So it actually works. It's kind of symbiotic. It's kind of hard for me. First, when I found out about my favorite clubs were in Dogenzaka, I didn't know how to. I was too embarrassed to walk through the love hotel district. But I actually found out that you cannot avoid going through them to get to the good clubs. Same story with Shinjuku. Kabukicho and Eastern Shinjuku is a huge love hotel district, and that's again, there's lots of decent clubs around there as well. Ikebukuro, another big station, has a big love hotel area. I think you get around the far side to sort of Uguisadani and Ueno, they do as well, although getting kind of low end and kind of crap. I mean, it's kind of really grungy neighborhoods, but that's part of the reason why actually they have a lot of sort of old cheap places. Another one, if you go around past Shinagawa to Botanda, that's kind of famous as well. Again, kind of grungy neighborhoods, but yeah, for sort of upmarket classy, I guess you're talking sort of some parts of Shinjuku and Shibuya. So yes, that is I think it's part of the cultural experience of Japan. I mean, if you have a chance, you absolutely have to go and check them out. I mean, they are kind of unique to Japan. They're fun. There's something, once you go there, they should be everywhere. So I highly recommend actually going and checking them out. Let's play my original track again. So I'm going to skip this one. In fact, I might just turn the music off. I don't know if you can hear me properly or not. Tell me if you want me to turn the music back on. I'm checking the comments, but otherwise, because I can't check it out at the moment. But yeah, totally go and check them out because they are cool, and it's sort of an adventure going in. So yes, and that's right, Phoenix. From a long time ago, of course. But no, they're definitely worth checking out. So, man, my ears are so blocked up. Yeah, at home at the moment, my son's got a cold, so I think I might be picking it up from him, so I've got to be careful. Let's try popping my ears. I'll have to be careful tonight anyway, so I don't go too long. I might just turn off the heater because it'll be drying off. They'll be drying things out more. And I'll have some water. So Ford pulled out of Japan this week. Not just Japan, Indonesia as well. Sales are not going well. It's not that, the European importers into Japan like BMW are selling pretty well, but Ford has struggled to get a foothold. They made a comment when they were announcing that they just find that the Japanese market is too closed. This is a big thing which, of course, America's been complaining about for Japan for a long time, that the market here is too closed, and they think that there are lots of trade barriers which prevent American people from competing here. Of course, there aren't any import tariffs on cars coming into Japan, but they complain that there are other types of things which make it hard to compete. I don't know exactly what those are, and when they said that it's because the Japan market is very closed off, the Japanese internet responded to Ford's view on this, saying, make cars that we want to buy and then complain to us. And these people don't even think about why they can't sell. They just complain about sort of macroeconomics. And again, they keep saying that it's not that the market's closed, it's that you make crap cars, Ford. And they're kind of laughing at the comment by Ford that, they're saying that the cars in Japan, maybe slightly unfairly, but they do have a reputation for being crap, and and saying as well, make them cheaper and not so crap. So yes, so basically everyone's sort of saying, and I think so. Actually, I saw a comment there, someone saying, well, look, the German cars are selling perfectly well. So why are the Americans complaining about it being so harsh on them? So there you go. Hey, Damaster, yeah, indeed, it would be good to hang out again. That was a good. I like that hamburger place we went to, Damaster. That was pretty cool. So what else is going on? A nice article here by Texted in Tokyo on why are Japanese kids so calm, and just talking about the different parenting cultures, the parenting styles and the parenting cultures between Japan and America. By the way, I got distracted. Ford does very well in America, and I guess it does. So I'm not exactly sure what the deal is exactly, but yeah, they didn't really take off. And it's funny because I think Ford owns Mazda. Mazda does okay, at least around Hiroshima anyway, where they manufacture. 100,000 subs when she was like on 10,000. I was saying to Victor, and Victor's like, that's wrong, isn't it? But I think somehow she's always just had that vibe that she's going to be like a few 100,000, and that is what she is, and that deserves it. Ellen, no one, I'm not learning Russian, but that's meant to be a really, really hard language, so good on you for tackling that. I noticed that on your channel. The one thing which Texan in Tokyo left out of this list, which I would include, I think diet makes a really big difference. And this is when I go back to New Zealand and Australia, and I just see all the kind of crazy cereals and sweets that we load kids up with, which I got loaded up with myself. I think it makes a big difference when Japanese kids, they talk about why are Japanese kids so calm. I think it's because they are not drugged on up to the eyeballs on sugar, which I think in a small body like that is like, a cross between crystal meth and crack. Now I'm kind of shocked by my own culture and how much crap and chemicals we load into our kids, and how much of the economy is focused on selling, sugar water and Coca-Cola and fizzy drinks and sweets to kids. And it's crazy. I can't tolerate those sort of sweets that I used to eat anymore. It's amazing when you get the sort of sugar out of your system, how much you react to it later on, and how desensitized kids are to it. So I think diet's a big factor as well, but indeed there are different parenting styles, and it's a great blog, and you should totally go and follow Grace's blog from Texas in Tokyo. She's really smart. I really, really appreciate her insight on a lot of things. And KNS TV, well, maybe it is a gateway drug, but there again, I think kids on it probably don't need to transfer to anything else once they're on it. So there's there's been a survey done by Shinjuku Ward. I lived in Shinjuku Ward for, how long did I live there now? I lived there for about 8 years. So I recently moved, I'm not there anymore, but they did a survey. I think they have the highest rate of foreigners in Japan, and they did a survey of those foreigners asking, do they feel discriminated against, or in what circumstances do they feel discrimination? And it was interesting. This is a published government survey where most of the respondents said that they felt most discriminated against when looking for apartments. So it's interesting. Let's have a look at the stats here. So in terms of respondents to the survey, the number of people who responded that they almost never or absolutely never feel any sense of stereotypes or discrimination was 47.2%. People responding sometimes and quite often were 42.3%. Apparently, where discrimination or stereotypes were felt, the most common reason, 51.9% of the time, was looking for apartments. 33.2% said during work, and 25.6% of the time said when dealing with like public institutions. So yeah, it goes on, but it's kind of interesting that they published this and that people sort of felt this. They also mentioned so yes, when living, so what is this? 近所に外国人が住むことで感じることは、so there are people who are concerned when foreigners live in the neighborhood. 47.6. They are worried that apparently Japanese who in the same survey, they are worried when foreigners come and live in their neighborhoods that they will not put out the garbage properly. 47.6% of people worry about that. I've said this before on my house searching videos, that they will use garbage as the main excuse, and also that worried about noise coming from the apartments, that they won't be considerate about noise, 35.4%, and on the positive side, people also think that yes, they are interested in having people becoming more interested, well, foreign countries and so on. But anyways, it's kind of interesting that they did the sort of a survey and that they got this sort of result and it got published, albeit the Asahi, where people would probably already be more sensitive. But yes, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, police are coming for me. That's right. They're coming after Lucas. I don't know what Lucas did because I was looking down, but I'm sure he did something pretty bad because everyone is. There you go. What else we got here? So that's the track which I was playing in the beginning. That was pretty awesome. The news from Korea. This is kind of going in a downward spiral at the moment, but yes, a majority, not all, but apparently of the 47 or whatever remaining comfort women. The latest update is that apparently now there's like a solid number. There's this woman Kang Il-chun who's 87, and they're angry that they weren't consulted. Their view. And they think that their government's been made to look like fools. And there was an interesting thing here where they talked about the story. So apparently only 46 still remain alive with an average age of 89. It doesn't have a number here of how many accept and how many reject the deal between the two countries. But apparently Kang says that she was in her mid-teens when Japanese military police arrived at her home in South Korea and told her that she was being conscripted into being a comfort woman. So her account is that Japanese military police coerced her and forced her into being a comfort woman. That's her own testimony. I know that there's a lot of sites which have Japanese people contest the accounts of these women and they sort of point out factual inconsistencies and so on in their stories. But it's their testimony. The Japanese government remains firm, and they actually remained firm in the United Nations just this week. In fact, I think that's the other story I've got here. I've got it in here somewhere. Japanese government responded to a question about whether comfort women were coerced, and they said that in the vast majority there were cases in Indonesia where it was known that foreign women, Dutch women, were basically kidnapped and coerced into being sex slaves, and the people responsible for those, the Japanese military people responsible for that, were captured and executed for it by Japanese military police. But they've always maintained that it wasn't Japanese government policy for Japanese military to actually coerce people into being comfort women, and they actually said that this week in the United Nations. However, you have living comfort women who say that's not the case. And this is another big kind of sticking point over the whole dispute, and makes things like it, even getting this apology across and settled even more difficult to do. So it's an interesting story, and it looks like it's going to get harder and harder for that apology to get to settle the issue. Which means, I think, given that apology was really as far as you could go, I think, from the Japan perspective, just about, there isn't much more you could have reasonably asked them to do, and it was way above what the negotiating position had been set by Japan before that. So, again, sadly, I think it's not resolvable, and it's not their obligation to accept the settlement, but, it looks like it's not going to happen, which is a shame. Someone messaged me today, actually, suggesting that I put this up. I'd caught this one. It's a profane and slightly superficial look at why Tokyo is the best city in the world for eating. And it's a good list. It's a good discussion. It's easy to read. Makes a lot of good points. I think they didn't quite have to go about it the way that they did. But that said, it's pretty thorough. And it covers all the bases. It's got more Michelin stars than any other city in the world. Well, sushi, of course. Kaiseki, of course. You could have good kaiseki. The quality of food is excellent. Basically, there's a bunch of other points here. It's a good blog. I think. It's kind of funny, they talk about how it has the best produce and the best cheese. Well, Japan has a restriction on cheese that you can only have cheese without preservatives, i.e. so they only import cheese which has basically got any value to put on an airplane and fly and have the additional imported value. So yeah, there is pretty good cheese, but it's super expensive and it's only like the very, very top end stuff, so it's kind of, like that. And they also mentioned that they don't think there's good paella. There's actually good Spanish food. You just have to know where to look for it. But they have suggested that they might go and set up a restaurant in Tokyo for it, but they would be intimidated because the quality of the food is so good here, which it is. It is. Seriously, food is like the number one reason it would be hard for me to move away from Tokyo. But it's a good blog there talking about that. So don't forget, you can check in the link underneath this video to go and see the original articles. No, Mr. Gordy Chip, I'm not going on a cheese meltdown today. This is an interesting one. This is Ric O'Barry. He is the central figure in the documentary movie The Cove. I think he's a little bit misunderstood in Japan, but he is one of the main campaigners against the Taiji dolphin hunt. His background is, I believe, from watching The Cove, as I recall, I think he worked on the TV series Flipboard. He was one of the dolphin trainers. And having worked with captive dolphins for a long time, he kind of came to a revelation at some point that, these animals should not be kept in captivity. And they were kept in captivity in the States for different dolphin shows. And the number one supplier of dolphins internationally for dolphin shows is actually Taiji. So it actually started off with not so much the massacre itself, it was just the fact that they actually herd and capture so many bottlenose dolphins from that one location. And he wanted to kind of do something about the captivity. He's thinking that these are basically animals that should not be kept in captivity because, they're too intelligent and too nice. But on top of the fact that that's where they put into captivity, they also kill a whole bunch of them there. So, there's this documentary about going into Taiji and where there are many Sea Shepherd and other sort of campaigners there. Sea Shepherd has a terrible reputation in Japan because of its actions against the whaling fleet in Antarctica, where Greenpeace would follow and kind of do peaceful protests. Sea Shepherd beat Greenpeace for getting donations and so on by being a bit more radical and actually going and ramming boats and using violence and sabotage. And it's because of that Japan's actually won a bunch of money off Sea Shepherd, and Sea Shepherd is treated pretty much as an eco-terrorist organization in Japan. And because I think members of Sea Shepherd were featured in The Cove, and because so many Sea Shepherd members come to Japan and protest in Taiji and are considered to cause a public nuisance, there's an association of Ric O'Barry with Sea Shepherd, even though he is not a member of that and he doesn't necessarily endorse their tactics. So he's made multiple trips to Japan, primarily to watch dolphins and to protest against the various hunts and capture of dolphins. On a recent attempt to enter Japan, he was stopped, I think, at Kansai airport, and he was denied entry. He refused to get on. He was told to get on another airplane and leave. But yes, I know. He wouldn't get on another airplane, so he was put into immigration detention, which is horrible immigration detention. But he was put into immigration detention, apparently in Kansai, and is going to be subject to an order to leave the country. I don't know that he was formally let into the country. I'm not sure what the story is there. It sounds like he was denied entry, but because he refused to get on a plane, he's been kept in detention now. So now they're going to call it a deportation. I'm not exactly sure. They're calling it a deportation in the articles. His wife is calling him a political prisoner, which I'm not sure is the right term. In terms of what I think, I've been asked by a lot of people what I think about this. What I think is, if you watch, there are all of these TV shows in Australia and England about, immigration, and how many dozens of people get turned away by Britain and Australia every day who are trying to enter the country on tourist visas and get forced, get denied entry or forced to leave for no reason. Japan does that very, very infrequently, from what I understand. I mean, I think it's much more, in general, immigration here is much more reasonable. You could also say in this case, they have a reason. He wasn't here as a tourist. You could say he was here as an activist, and but that said, at the same time, it doesn't make Japan look good to be, basically politically bullying people who, peaceful sort of protesters like this guy. It's not good for Japan's image to be doing this. It makes it look like China, and this is the sort of thing that China would do. Anyone who disagrees with its government, they just deny them entry and, detain them and kick them out. It doesn't look like a first world solution, but there again, I mean, Abe's been part of advocating a more robust, foreign policy that speaks up and stands up for itself. But I don't think this is a win for Japan doing it this way. But that said, sure, I mean, immigration, they can point out that he probably isn't a tourist. And yes, and at the same time, I don't think anybody has a right to be admitted in Japan against the will of the government or immigration. Again, I think it's a bit boneheaded by Japan putting him in detention and, in a way martyring him by drawing attention to him like this. If their aim is to counter him, I think this is going to be counterproductive for that and for Japan's sort of overall image. But that said, they didn't have any obligation to let him in the country, and I don't think he's by any means a political prisoner. he tried to get into Japan and they denied him entry, and as they're entitled to do. So as is perhaps predictable, the people who are supporting him are making a bit, I think, exaggerating his situation. But at the same time, I think it's not a smart move by Japan either. But I think it's one that they're entitled to do. So that's what I think about that. I just mentioned before, I'm on a Japanese movie homework exercise. I'm actually watching Hidden Fortress at the moment. I saw Rashomon and Seven Samurai so far. Seven Samurai was long, and it took me like 3 or 4 times to watch it because I can only ever watch it right when I'm about to go to sleep. Rashomon I saw in one hit. Man, Rashomon was awesome. I mean, I'd only ever seen one Kurosawa movie, which was Run, which I know is strange for someone like me to have not watched more Kurosawa movies, but I don't know, I watched a few crap Japanese movies, some good ones, but between not having much time in my life to follow and having had some disappointments with Japanese movies, I just kind of didn't really get into watching them. So here's a list of 40 movies, and I guess I'm not going to have watched many of these. I haven't actually checked this list, I'm going to tell you. So maybe before we even get into this, if I have more than, let's say 20%, let's say 8 movies, if I have more than 8, I'm going to consider that a win. So let's go through. Have you seen these movies, and do you agree with them being on this list of best movies? The Family Game, never heard of it. The Youth of the Beast, never heard of it. The Burmese Harp, never heard of it. Not doing well so far, but let's see how we go. Early Summer, no. In fact, generally movies this old, I don't. Power save mode, don't want that. That's not a good sign. Giants and Toys, haven't seen it, don't know this. Samurai Rebellion, nope, haven't seen that. That looks like a kind of a crappy samurai Zura there, but there we go. Onibaba, I've heard of that, but I haven't seen it, nope. 24 Eyes, wow, these are really old movies. I'm going to get like a really low score on this, because most of the movies I've watched, the good ones, are like new movies, modern movies, like since 1990. Humanity and Paper Balloons, nope, haven't seen that. Haven't seen any of these. Love and Honor, okay, so for the first 10, I just have totally bombed out on that. Has anyone seen these? And I know I've got to watch Sanjuro and Yojimbo, so and they are on my list to watch. In fact, I've already downloaded them, but yes. So anyway, for the first 10, from 40 to 30, I have not watched any of these. So let's go through, where are we? Love and Honor, so let's go through the next. Oh, okay, page 2. Right, Hanabi. I have not, wait a minute, have I seen Hanabi? I haven't, and I don't like Beat Takeshi's movies. I don't. I've seen a couple of them, and I didn't like him. Beat Takeshi is an instruction, not a name. So I don't know. Hanabi's the closest to something I might have watched. I'm just thinking, no. I saw Brother. Man, if Brother is on this list, it'll lose its credibility instantly. So Children of Hiroshima, no, I have not seen that. So far, I still haven't seen one yet. Tokyo Sonata. Oh, man. Have I seen that? Have I seen that? It's like a drama, isn't it? Well, it's a movie. Okay, no, you know what? Have I seen that? Have I seen that? I must have seen this. I've seen this. Okay, I've seen Tokyo Sonata. I've got Tokyo Sonata. Wow, that's okay. That's one, so that's good. High and Low, I've got it on my to-watch list. And no, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Takeshi. I'm sorry. I've seen a couple of his movies, and not my thing. The Ballad of Naraima, never seen that. Help me out here. Goyo King, never seen that. A lot of samurai movies here. The Taste of Tea, nope, haven't seen that. When a Woman Ascends the Stairs, haven't seen that. Floating Clouds, wow, the first 20, I think I'm only going to have like one. A Fugitive from the Past, haven't seen that. So there we go, the first 20 movies, I've seen one, Tokyo Sonata. Departures, what is the Japanese name of that? I haven't seen it. I have not seen that one. And this is after me coming to Japan as well, so I should know that one, but no. Sancho the Bailiff, nope, don't know that. Intentions of Murder, don't know that. Well, it's good that I haven't seen these. It gives me something to do. The Face of Another, haven't seen that. Are these really that good? The Twilight Samurai. Haven't seen that. Wow. 8. I'm not going to make 8. Bottles Without Honor and Humanity Saga. Haven't seen. How are you guys doing on this? Who's got getting? If anyone's got 8 here, I think you're going to deserve like a pat on the back. The Sword of Doom. Have not seen that. Like Father, Like Son. Never heard of that. Oh, you know what? I might have heard. This might have got some of those Cannes prizes or whatever. And I quite like. That's Fukuyama. He's kind of a decent actor, so I might check that one out. But anyway, I haven't seen it. Fires on the Plain. Haven't seen that. Damn, I'm failing at this badly. We've gone through the first 30. I've only seen one of these movies. Okay, let's go through the top 10. Thank you, Kenji. Thank you. Yes, I know I do. Well, you know, I just honestly I quite like. I'll give you some movies that I quite like. Shiko Funjata, Sumodu Sumodon. I quite like Samurai Fiction. That was awesome. I've seen some movies that I like, but man, they're not here. Pitfall. Never heard of it. Man, I suck. Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters. Never seen it. Ugetsu. Never heard of it. Nobody Knows. 2004. Jeez, I should know that. But there we go. Never seen it. Never heard of it. The Human Condition Trilogy. Never seen it. Never heard of it. Woman in Dunes. Never heard of it. So yes, I'm failing it. This is a complete fail. This is a washout. Oh, damn. Tokyo Story. Never heard of it. Harakiri. Never heard of it. I mean, I've heard of Rashomon. Well, I saw Rashomon the other day, and it really was awesome. It was actually Rashomon was mind-blowingly awesome, and I'll give it that. And actually, that's why I'm continuing to watch now. Rashomon was like, and it's amazing that movie was made in 1950, and I can kind of see how that movie had such an influence. Actually, Rashomon was amazing. So yes, which means that probably number 3 was amazing too. I just never heard of it. What was number 3 again? Harakiri. Well, it's a good, exciting title, so maybe I should check it out. Rashomon was like awesome, actually. And Seven Samurai, I just finished watching today. Well, not yesterday. And it was good, except it was like 3.5 hours long, so it took a long time to watch. It was pretty good. I put Rashomon ahead of Seven Samurai for me, but yeah, that was pretty awesome. So, yeah. Anyway, I suck. That is the conclusion of that. I got like 3, and 2 of them were in the last 2 days. Okay, I suck. I must admit, I mean, I saw Rashomon and I kind of thought, okay, now I can see how when people talk about Kurosawa influencing Western directors, I can see it. Just to help with the acceptance of the apology process, LDP lawmakers have again reminded the Korean comfort woman to remove their statue, which is indeed part of the goal of this whole settlement with Korea, is to get rid of the statue. But you know, given all of the unending emotion around the issue, of course, and you know, the anger and so on, and this being a symbol of that, without consensus on the apology to begin with, the statue thing is going to be pretty hard as well, although that is clearly what Japan wants to get out of the deal. And you know, there's well, you can see both sides. Hey, Antonio Fox, good to see you. Welcome. So that is not going anywhere fast. Facebook is now allowing live viewing from mobile, from iPhone, which is amazing because YouTube doesn't offer it. It's amazing. Facebook is offering live video. I could be doing this from my iPhone if I was doing it on Facebook, but not on YouTube, which is ridiculous, YouTube. So please fix this. On the Facebook, it's really tempting to do because, of course, you have such a good audience reach right away with that. So yeah, again, it still baffles me that YouTube does not allow me to use my iPhone to do a Hangout on Air live, but I hope they hurry up and fix it. I think it's part of a problem that they've just gotten too big and they can't move soon enough. But when Facebook is beating them at live video, I'd say that there should be alarm bells going off at YouTube over there. Some common mistakes that foreigners make. This was, I think, on the Gaijin Pot. Pardon me. I think this was on the Gaijin Pot blog, and that is taking a while to load. And if it takes a bit longer, I might just switch it into open in Safari. Sometimes that speeds it up. So Gaijin Pot, they talked about common mistakes that Gaijins make, and actually I remember I saved this because I thought, yeah, it's okay, this is a respectable list. And yeah, Ellen, I think I'm going to try streaming to Facebook actually at some point, just to drive the point home, but I'd rather do it from YouTube. It's just that they won't let me. It does suck, but when, even YouTube is beating them at their own game, that's kind of a problem. Wow, that is not loading. And I can't remember the exact list. What is happening there? Let me try. Sometimes it's my own home network, although that would... Let me try this off the cellular. If this doesn't work, that means that it is a problem with Gaijin Pot servers, which must be Gaijin Pot because this is 4G now and it's still not loading, so Gaijin Pot's blog server sucks. That's what that means. Boom, let's go back to Flipboard and get out of here. So apparently, yeah, foreigners make mistakes. Tokyo's population continues to grow at a pretty rapid rate as well. Like, what is that, 119,000 people in the last year. So that while the rest of Japan keeps emptying out, the Tokyo's population continues to increase. The scandal this week. So this is kind of interesting. The where is it? I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but there's a good summary. Yeah, so this is kind of the story. Amari, who is the TPP negotiator, the Minister for Economy, Trade and Industry of Japan for like the last, how many years now? Like 6 or 7 years now since Abe came in. And he's really suffered and struggled through the TPP negotiations. He's gone, white hair and everything. He's aged more than a US president, being in the role that he's in. And like just a few weeks away from the signing ceremony for the TPP in New Zealand, the pinnacle of those years of suffering and negotiation, he's been forced to resign this week over the original amount quoted was like $4,000 US. It turns out it's more than that. I think that the final amount, which they now seem to agree, is that he received a cash. I denounced their servers. He received a cash payment of what was the amount? I think they're saying it was like 10 million in the end, which is like $100,000. And it was basically from a construction company that was having a disagreement. By the way, if you say construction company in Japan, it's like a code word for organized crime affiliated. It has a certain ring of underworld tones to it, especially when he received money from a cheaper construction firm. It means dodgy people. That's what it means to begin with. And he received a bunch of payment because they were having a disagreement with UR. UR is the Urban Renaissance Agency, or basically the Japanese government housing agency. And so they were having some sort of a tiff with them over some sort of payment, and they went and paid Amari to go and bring the issue up and fix it with them. And apparently they met 12 times. Why the Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry would arrange meetings 12 times, I mean basically harassing UR over the complaints of a Chiba construction company, is apparently because he was paid $100,000 to take up their issue with them. Maybe in America, with lobbying and so on, this wouldn't turn so many heads, but he screwed up. He took the cash. He did as he was told. He harassed a government agency on behalf of a construction company. Then got caught. He kind of denied it and said it was the secretary's fault or whatever, but boom, he's out of the job just before and then probably the opposition, they knew about this, and the weeklies knew about this, but they wanted to do it, frankly, at a time, clearly the scandal was timed to hit it at a time that it would embarrass Abe the most. And I felt sorry for him at first. I felt like, well, this is just probably, some construction company slipped him $4,000. The original amount quoted was $4,000. And raised it just at a time right before the TPP to hurt him and hurt Abe. It sounded like a setup. But that said, now that more of the details come out, it looks like it wasn't just a simple setup. It's another basically cash for favors kind of corruption deal, which just happens routinely in Japan. But Abe's had a pretty good run of not having these. And as dodgy as the scandal smelled, it looks like again he was right to resign, and he screwed up, and you just think it's just puts a on years of suffering in these TPP negotiations. That's how he goes out. So sucks to be him anyway. Tokyo Toast. So this is worth checking out. Mariko Lockridge. She is the person. I had her on this show. She was going to be on 2.5 Oyajis, but Victor couldn't join that week. So I've got a video of just been talking with her. We had a great chat. I love talking with her. She's actually super engaging to talk to, and I actually got her headphones after we finished talking. She told me about the headphones she was using. And on her recommendation, we went out and got these. These are like Sony, like for sort of industry use. These are not sold in retail. You know, you can buy them from Big Camera, but you have to kind of order them, and they come in a kind of a brown paper box. But these are like the best headphones. One of my best purchases from last year. She's also super interesting. She's like a freelance journalist, works with AP and does video journalism, and she does TV production, all this stuff. She introduced Gigi to Victor and I. We had her on. That was fun as well. So she's just come back to Japan, and she's just started. She's getting into vlogging. She started a vlog channel. So there is her channel. If you look up Mariko Lockridge, she's just put up her very first vlog. Go give her some support. Everyone go subscribe to her, and the video is awesome, and I think it's just a good sign. I mean, she's again a pro video maker getting into video blogging about Japan, so couldn't recommend her channel enough. And as first videos go, her first video is really good, and it's got its own sort of flavor and style to it, which is great. I mean, again, it's exactly what I would expect from someone like her getting into it, but it's kind of exciting to see someone like her getting into vlogging. So I can't recommend. Go subscribe to her channel and check it out and support her videos, because I think she's going to have a really, really awesome channel, and it's kind of cool to be in there supporting from the beginning. So yeah, go check it out. Tokyo Toast is the name of the video blog that she has just started, and it's going to be really, really cool. 2.5 Oyajis last week. We had a break yesterday, but last week with Nihon John, I think I mentioned last week anyway, it was a really good show, so go and check that one out. He talks about being an investment banker in Tokyo. He talks about being a Mormon and leaving the Mormon faith and becoming the #2 host in Japan, and being in internet startups. And he's like a super interesting guy. Plus, Victor was also in good form. It was a really good show. So it was like my favorite show actually in a while. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. This is super interesting news. The next iPhone 7, at least the Plus, is rumored to have a dual camera, which is this idea of having multiple camera lenses and sensors to get closer to DSLR quality. And if the regular 7 only has one camera, but the 7 Plus has the dual cameras, that'll be a serious incentive to go and consider actually getting the does that go out of sync? That's a serious incentive for me to go and get the big phone and hopefully not lose it this time, if that's what happens later this year. So anyway, that is awesome. This week's Japan Business Time, we were talking about how do Japanese react to efficient foreigners, and it was a really fun conversation. I'd forgotten the content of these. I just remembered that when I was editing them, I remember that they were all really good conversations, but when I went and watched this one back, it was kind of fresh because I had edited it back in November, and I'd kind of forgotten what was in the episodes. This was funny. This was talking about how the different perceptions of efficiency between Japanese and foreigners, and I even convey one of my own experiences where I just about flipped a table over on a foreigner in anger who was mocking Japanese inefficiency. I kind of had a raw nerve at the time. It was a really fun video with a lot of good anecdotes. Again, I mean, this is just a really awesome series, and this is I think these are some of the best videos I've ever made, which is just because I'm having a really good conversation with Rochelle Cobb. Mrs. Cordy Chep, I'm sorry that I'm out of sync, and I don't know how to fix that. But I wonder how I can fix that. I guess I could use the middle camera as a camera on me. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry it's out of sync. I'm almost at the end of it anyway. Rochelle is having a seminar this Thursday, the 4th. If you use our promotion code HIKO30, you can get a 30% discount. However, it's a corporate rate that's being charged as a corporate seminar. It is a bit pricey, but there again, if you want to go and meet her and do a full day sort of training session with her, and Kenji, maybe you or people you know would be interested in this, you can get 30% off if you put Hiko30. The information is on the current videos, so you can go and see that. But yes, that is really, really good. I've put the information there for people who are interested. The Democrats. I've mentioned before what just incredible losers these people are. Oh man, I want them to be good and they just suck. And I'm sorry, I know Kenji, and I know he's a supporter of Okada. But, again, apart from, raising the idea of dissolving the party or coming up with a new party name, the slogan that he's come up for the election posters for the next election for the Japan Democrat Party is, we know you hate the Democrats, but if you want to protect democracy, vote for us. Is that like the worst slogan you've ever heard of? I think it's the worst slogan I've ever seen, and apparently there are actual complaints coming in from local chapters of the Democrats that they don't want to put these posters up. They find them humiliating to put up. And again, you talk about a party that just doesn't have a clue. They won't come to terms with why people kick them out or why people hate them. And they're saying, and they're not even apologizing or saying what's wrong or saying we'll do it better or say we're going to do this. They're just saying, well, we know you hate us, but democracy, vote for us because democracy. It's honestly like, I think Okada's on the take. I think he's getting paid by Abe to do this. I don't know how you could deliberately sabotage yourself like even worse than this. This is just so terrible. And there is no hope. And there he is. There's Okada suggesting, the leader of the party, saying his only other initiative around the election, other than saying, hey, we know you all hate us, but vote for us because democracy, is thinking, hey, it's still an option that we can just reintegrate as a new party. There's the thing I mentioned at the start of the show about Japan formally denies that comfort women were coerced. That never sounds good, and it really isn't something that they should be getting into, but there you go. And that is the end of the topics. We are exactly up on the hour. The TPP sucks because they didn't lower the butter tariffs. If they had done that, I would have supported it. There are lots of problems with it, of course, but I still, on the whole, I generally still support free trade and all that sort of stuff. I am going to, for the outro track, I've just been playing around. In fact, I got distracted. Part of the reason I started late was because I was playing around with making... Oh, not that. I want to put on this. I was playing around with making a new kind of hip-hop based track using that. Using the vocal that I got from Jace Mace. So I'll show you. So this is the app. This is iMachine 2. This is what I have been using lately. I'm sorry, that is my mic making a little bit of noise there. Let me increase the sound and make this my outro. So at the moment, this is what we've got. I've just been building up a beat. So I've adjusted the pitch on some of these. So well, but anyway, let's try this.
I release the beast like Ash Ketchum, then collect them. Beheading them C's, I'm the second to your seppuku. It's suicide, even try to criticize. It's suicide, even try to criticize. My mic is a katana to detach you from your disguise. The wise stay awake to the tides and read the cycles. Be careful of the man in the mirror because he's like you. Be careful of the man in the mirror because he's like you. Reality subjective, depending on your perspective. Reality subjective, depending on your perspective. Reality subjective, so put this in the mix and get lost in the hood, thinking it's all good. Reality subjective, depending on your perspective. Reality subjective, depending on your perspective. They teach us about the scenic route, thinking it's all good, until we hit the detour and get lost in the hood. Reality's subjective, depending on your perspective. So take it for what it is, and put this in the mix. So take it for what it is, thinking it's all good. So take it for what it is, get lost in the hood. So take it for what it is, and put this in the mix. So take it for what it is, depending on your perspective. So take it for what it is, thinking it's all good. So take it for what it is, to put this in the mix. The suicide, beheading them C's. I'm the suicide seppuku. Even try to criticize. My mic is a katana to detach you from your disguise. The why I stay awake to the tides and read the cycles. Be careful of the man in the mirror because he's like you. Be careful of the man in the mirror because he's like you. Be careful of the man in the mirror because he's like you. Be careful of the man in the mirror because he's like you. To put this in the mix, to put this in the mix. So take it for what it is, to put this in the mix. To put this in the mix, to put this in the mix. Reality subjective, depending on your perspective. So take it for what it is, so take it for what it is. So take it for what it is, to put this in the mix. So take it for what it is, to put this in the mix. Reality subjective, reality subjective.
It's kind of cool. So yeah, like I said, as I was playing around with this, I got kind of sucked into it. And that is why I was late for the start of the show. But man, I love playing around with this stuff, and I'm going to make some more tracks, and hopefully I'm going to get some more vocal collabs with this guy, because this is pretty awesome. This is 89 BPM, which is how he made it. Actually, I tweaked the pitch on this to get the right chords that I wanted, which you can do on this. I'll do a full walkthrough on this one day. But for tonight, that's it. I'll tell you what, shall I do one more set just to show you how this kind of works? Let's do that. In fact, let's do this one, shall we? That sucks, that's not good. Do that again. Actually, I like this better.
Back.
Well, anyway, go and check out Mariko Lockridge, and have a good night, everybody. And hope you enjoyed the show. It is easier to jam with Korg than it is to jam with this because everything is set up on a sequencer, and I play around with things a lot actually, and it's kind of hard to do very quietly at the moment. But yeah, that's pretty cool, right? And that's what I love about this. So everyone, anyway, have a very good night, have a good week, and be sure to check out the next episode of Japan Business Time on Wednesday, and if you can, go and check out the seminar on Thursday. I'm going to be recording a new series with Rochelle on Friday. So if you go and put comments on what you would like for new topics into any of the Japan Business Time videos, including the one this Wednesday, we're going to check through those and decide on which topics to use for the new series. So get those in, and yes, have a good night, everybody, and hope you enjoyed the show, and thank you for joining me. Boom, peace. Let's get over here. Where is it? Stop streaming. Big red button. And then we have to say, yes, we are sure we want to stop streaming. So have a good night.